Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state.
Welcome to all of our listeners today. We have some very special guests. This is Innovation Unplugged from the ACCS Innovation Center broadcast booth and production studio. So we have some, like I said, some very special guests this morning that they don't know this, but I'm in a little bit of a fangirl moment because they are well known throughout the system as being some of our top instructors. Did y'all know that? Like the road is paved with goodness about the both of you. So I'm super excited.
What they don't know won't hurt them, Brother Sherman.
So tell everybody who, Houston likes to joke that it's really only one or two or three listeners, but actually we have a fairly good listener following. So if y'all will tell them this morning who you are and where you work and what you do, and then we're just going to get into all the goodness that y'all do every day. So you want to start us off?
Sure. I'm Ken Richardson. I'm from Tuscaloosa, work for Shelton, and old retired coal miner, and I'm a landscaper. We've cut back on that a lot now because they're keeping us busy doing this. This is just blown up. It's done way more than we ever thought it would, and we're just tickled to death. And Sherman and I are trying to keep up with it.
Awesome. So Brother Sherman, I heard him refer to you as, we'll get to that in a minute about why he calls you Brother Sherman, but tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Sherman Lee. I'm from Fayette County, and I'm an employee of Shelton State out there teaching the heavy equipment operator class. And I'm retired Air Force, spent 20 years in there, and then I went to Bevel State and got my degree in drafting. So I drew maps for the rest of my career, and I love that, but I love being out playing in the dirt with heavy equipment. Mm-hmm. That's half my career was firefighter in the Air Force, and then the other half was pavements and heavy equipment. And so I got to build roads and sidewalks and then operate the equipment also. So and I loved that part, and I loved it. And so now, being retired, this opportunity came up to be an instructor out there, and so I jumped on that, and Darryl Ballou. And then I got entangled in that, and then met Ken, great instructor, and I enjoy this work. I get up, it's hard to sleep the night before a class to get out there and start teaching. I just love it.
I think that passion is why y'all are known for being so good. And I know that you enjoy what you do, but I mean, we get a lot of feedback from people, and when you enjoy what you do and you have that passion, it just kind of comes out.
Well, for us, it's just the simple little things like y'all show up every once in a while, just unexpected, and you're there, so supportive. And I remember that cold day that you and Houston came walking across that old muddy field back there. It's unexpected on a Saturday. Nobody does that, but you did.
Well,
and we appreciate it.
Love watching y'all do what you do, and like I said, y'all are some of the best at it. So for our listeners, we have, and watchers, I guess, but we have several heavy equipment courses. So we've got bulldozer, skid steer, asphalt roller, excavator. So, and those are sometimes what we call open enrollment, which is just general public folks who hear about the courses and decide to sign up and take them. And then other times they're high school students. So tell us a little bit about from the first time you started with the heavy equipment courses to now. Like, what have you noticed or what have you enjoyed maybe from the first time to this time? Is every day different? Does it always look the same?
Yeah.
Every day is a new beginning. Mm-hmm. The first day where we have mostly all our technical stuff's done online. Mm-hmm. They do their online stuff, and then they're ready for us to come and learn the get a start on learning how to check out the equipment, doing the walk around and inspection, checking everything, and getting familiar with the machine, and then as fast as we can, we get them on the machines.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's different. Nobody was born knowing how to do this,
Yep.
and it's surprising how many people really catch on in a hurry. And it's just by the second day, a lot of these people could go and apply for and land a job doing that particular, doing that machine. It's just they just pick up on it just really quick.
That's incredible. So what kind of story? I know y'all hear so many stories. We've had some folks in here from your training. So some of the Tuscaloosa high school kids. And so I know, like, I came out of the classroom, I was in labs, and, you get to really kind of bond with those students. So what are some of those stories that over time, from whether it was the first or whether it was the last one you taught, what are some of those stories of people that just, like you say, they come in and they just catch on so fast and then off they go and they're on a new career path? Like any stories stand out?
You can see the students once you start their attentiveness, wanting to be involved and stuff like that. You kind of get a sense that they're going to be special, and they're all special. I'm not picking on anyone, but you as soon as they start pushing dirt or digging or moving, you can tell they got that knack for how to operate that blade or bucket. And that's the key part of the whole machine. That's the business end of it. Mm-hmm. So and some of them, they catch on real quick. Some, it takes them a little while. Then then they catch on. And then some of them, they're so cautious that they're slow, which is fine, but they're getting it. But they're just cautious. And so we have that kind of student profiles, and we've never had one that we said, just go home or something like that. They've all done great, but some of them do advance faster. And but it's a joy to see them the first day at the beginning, and then the second day to see them finish. Huge difference.
Yes, it is. It's just, and we'll tell them, you're going to be surprised tomorrow, because they learn how to be an operator. To be in control of that machine that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
To be in control of it, and you can force it to do what it's supposed to do. And they just learn, and we've learned too. We've adjusted ourselves, and we talk all the time on the phone. We've just adjusted what we do and what we think and how fast we think things ought to progress. And I believe things are going better now that that we've adjusted our thinking.
Sure.
Yeah, that's one thing, like every class we go in there, we have our keys and lab and all that, and we do that. But then I'll pick up on what Ken's taught when we were out there together. I'd always listen to him. He's so full of knowledge. It's incredible.
Of what?
I was scared where he was going. He's so full of. I was like, oh, where's this headed? That's good though.
Yeah. But I always listen. I never say, I don't need to listen to Ken because I know everything. Well, I don't. But he comes up with some good stuff, and I'll write it down.
And vice versa. Yeah.
So,
We've
it's always a learning process.
Yeah.
Even class after class after class.
Yeah.
Well, we started out being able to work together, and that was just
from the beginning.
really
Y'all
such
been
a
paired.
thrill.
Okay.
Yeah. That's we don't now. We don't now, and but we needed that too, because this was new to us too. We both were operators, but we weren't teachers.
Yeah.
And so I think we both have learned well from each other, from ACCS, from everybody, and it's so good knowing that we can be in contact with you in Houston, Matt, and anybody in our group down there. Open door, open telephone, text, email, whatever. and it's really personal way to run the thing, and that's what we like.
Yeah, even the guys over there at the Fred campus.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Spanky, I don't even know his real name,
I
but
don't
that's
either.
what he wants to be called.
Yeah.
And Spanky and Lance, they go out of their way to make sure we get everything we need. You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This
Yeah, we
is
were talking a little
great.
bit earlier about the team you have around you.
It's special.
Nicole and Emily, who we've had on the podcast before, both of them actually.
And
We've had on,
Sabrina.
and just what great support y'all have from your president to them, and I mean it's incredible.
It
Let's
is.
see, Margie,
Mhm.
she was instrumental, in Molly.
Molly
She
Booth,
was a
yes.
great help, still is.
Yes.
And just that whole team over there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Workforce development, yeah, awesome.
We've been treated like great.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, coming, that's huge, because if you don't feel that support, or if things don't run smoothly, then it kind of trickles down and trickles out. But I think that's so much of why y'all are so successful. Not only are y'all fabulous at what you do, but you've got that support system too. But I was just sitting here thinking as you were talking, I remember, so I was in the classroom for like 18 years. Some of it was in the classroom, some of it was in a lab, a lot like what y'all are doing, just different. Mine was ultrasound world. And I think from day one, how different, if you could almost hit rewind and look
Yeah.
and see what you were doing versus what you're doing now. So I think that was exactly what I was wanting to know, like how you transition. So you've learned over time. So your first group of students, they got maybe a little different version of you. I know, I thought the same thing. I'm like, I'm so sorry to that first group. Like,
I remember
really didn't know what I was doing.
I remember our first group because our work area was grown up.
Yeah.
It was all trees and concrete and rocks. It was just a dump pile. And we went there, and I remember that first tree we pushed over, that pine tree. And it was just, we've come a long way since then.
Yeah. Since then, we've made it a place where you can work and be productive a little bit, and we actually getting some more dirt too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yep, really enjoy it, and we're really blessed to have that home spot that we can bring people into our spot down there, because a lot of times when you go out on site, other people's sites, it's you have to create a working environment, move a lot of dirt and to make a pile and all such, and it really helps. We are really blessed to have that place to where we don't have to more or less start over every time we go somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, we did go out to the county high.
Yeah, and it was great too.
They had a setup out there that was just a dream. They had 2 huge piles.
Yeah.
And we could do whatever we want to with them.
Mm-hmm.
But they were so supportive.
Yeah.
Gave us a golf cart.
Wow.
Brought a porta-john out there. I mean, little stuff like that means a lot.
Yeah, it does. They're all in.
Yeah, they were definitely in. And then all the other high schools that's been coming, let's rock. Come on, let's go.
We just had such good experiences out of this out of the high school, the whole system.
Yeah.
They're just all in with us.
Now, at the beginning, when Margie talked about high school, I was going,
yeah, me too.
and I was kind of worried about that because I wouldn't know how they would react to training, to learning, and they have been just great. They have just been attentive, ready to go. Whole game changer for me.
That's incredible.
Me too.
That's incredible. Well, when we started down the path of high school, we probably also felt a little bit of, is this going to work like we think it? And it's just completely taken off. And the success stories that we've heard, and like I said, some of the folks that came out of y'all's courses, from Tuscaloosa, we heard from them, and it's getting to listen to those, I don't know, testimonies of sorts, where kids come in and maybe they didn't know exactly what they wanted to. Maybe they didn't even think they wanted to do this. And then all of a sudden, a whole world opens up.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a little story the other day. Sherm will remember him, and I hadn't talked to him about this. Do you remember little old Mike from County High?
Yeah.
Sherm?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. He was He's been through all our courses. The skid steer, the dozer, and the excavator, all three. Well, he had gone through he'd gotten through the dozer, and he needed a job. He's a full-time student, but he needed a job. So he applies for this job over in Northport, not too far from his house, and it pertained to the equipment that we had instructed him on. And Mike picked up real good. He picked up on it real good. He's got to be everybody's teacher's pet because he's such a kid.
Yeah.
He really is. And he went to this place needing a job, and the guy said, "How old are you?" 17. I'm sorry, we can't do anything for you. You got to be 18. Well, he didn't say anything. Thanked the guy for the opportunity to talk to him and all. Went straight home and got his certificate from the bulldozer. Took it back, asked the guy for a job, and he said, "You're hired."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That ran chills up
Y'all.
and down me. Yeah.
First off, the perseverance.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
that he said, "Well, hold on a second."
He
And
didn't say he was going to get it. He just went and got
Wow.
it, took it back. Yeah.
That's good.
Uh-huh.
That's great.
And since then, he started out started out pretty good. His payday, and he's got like $1.50, $2 an hour raise since he's been there.
Wow.
He's just is good. He's great.
That is such a good story. We love hearing things like that because, I mean, obviously all of these things are passion projects for us. And I know we were talking a little bit earlier about, when you love what you do and, it just comes out, and so those things just fuel us.
Oh,
absolutely
it
fuel
does.
us. And I know for every mic, there's, 4 more somewhere that we just don't know about or don't hear about sometimes
That's
or
right.
whatever.
Well,
But
we had one girl go through the class, and she had CDL. She'd been through forklift. She'd been through all the
Forklift
skid
too,
and
yeah.
dozer, and she got a job as instructor over at CDL.
really,
She sure did.
wow.
She did.
Mhm.
She really did. Yeah.
That's incredible. So
Mhm.
she's just stacking course after course.
Yeah, absolutely. She's using what she's learned.
Wow.
You know.
Do y'all think there's a shift? I don't know. As you take the pulse of people now, a while ago it seemed like maybe skills weren't necessarily all that on the front of the mind of folks. Do you sense, listening to folks as they come in and train, that maybe there's a shift in the kind of mindset like that?
I think so. They come in at first. Some of them come in, they don't have a clue what they're going to do. But once they get in the equipment and start learning, they say, "Hey, I like this."
Yeah, they do.
Are there any jobs available for this? I go,
Or
look
there.
around.
Or there.
Look
They're everywhere.
around. There's construction going on everywhere. So
There
there's
is.
opportunities wide open.
And around here, coal mining.
Coal mining.
Quarry work.
Yeah.
And all this is just, well, I did that.
Mhm.
And heavy equipment is just, it's just such a good career. And, you used to think about to have a career, you had to dress up and go somewhere and work in an office all day. But a career is what you make out of your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And this is just enjoyable. You're by yourself, you're creating something all the time, always working on a little project that, and that you're creating something good.
Mm-hmm.
And we just thoroughly enjoy it. Then it's been a good little tip, and I didn't know, make it feel like you're working on a project. And one thing that your work day will go fast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And you're creating something, and you keep your interest in it real good, and that seems to help things along a little bit. And we've changed our methods of getting things started, because it's a monumental task to have never been on a bulldozer and turn that throttle wide open, put it in gear.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do now?
Yeah,
It
What
is.
do I do if I get this thing to go to the ground? What I do with it then?
we was out at County High, and we had this one girl. I can't think of her name. She was just a little old skinny thing, Jenny,
Jenny.
Jenny, and the bulldozer. She got on it, and she just took off with it. She just picked that thing right, and she's such a little
Yeah.
old thing, and that big old dozer. I laughed every time I saw her in that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had lots of girls.
Yeah, and but one of the things we do now, that when we start teaching, we put the employer at the front. We say, what would he want to see on an equipment operator? So we kind of get them in that gear. We try to teach them the procedures, how to operate the blade. The blade's the business part of the machine, okay, and buckets are too. But if he was to go up to an employer and say, I'd like to operate equipment, they're going to put him on a test. And it's according to how they operate, whether they'll advance more and more. But the employer, we don't want to send them somebody that just has no clue.
Right.
And everybody that graduates, they got a good grasp of how to operate.
Of it, yeah.
And with more time in the seat, the better they'll become.
Sure.
So to become an operator, when they get that certificate, that just says that they've been trained to crank it up and move it and push some dirt.
Sure.
And check it out. But the operating comes with time.
Mm-hmm.
And we send them off with a good chance of getting that operational skill.
Mm-hmm. They're needed so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just absolutely needed terribly. They're just needed.
And I'm sure y'all, having had years of professional experience and work experience, you can kind of pour into them to say, I was thinking when you were talking, it's not just that operational stuff. That's not just what employers are looking for. They want you to be on time.
Attitude.
They want you to have good attitudes.
Oh, yeah.
All of those things. So how do you instill those in even the youngest to the oldest of people that come across your way?
One of our briefings is we start down, introduce ourselves, and we go through little steps. And I say the first piece of equipment you're going to operate when you go out on a construction site is a shovel, or that little sign, slow, stop, slow, stop.
Yeah,
and
be
that's
sure
the
you can
start.
spell that.
And then the employer, again, is going to be looking, is he here on time?
Mm-hmm.
How's his attitude? Is he working all the time? Is he over there leaned up against a tree somewhere? They look for that stuff.
Right.
And if they're out there working and they're attentive, that advances them on up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're really developing the next workforce.
Absolutely.
Right. And sometimes it may be, we give a lot of attention to high school students, and obviously those folks may be looking for a career in that, but it also may be that they're not looking. They may figure out that is not something they want to do, which is a huge benefit too.
Yes.
I think there's so many things like that I wish we had been exposed to, early on, to be able to just like put your toe in it and say, do I like that, without fully committing to something,
I think, yeah, you are right. And in whatever field, only a small percentage of the people that go through our classes are going to actually wind up with this. But, you got to be careful, because anything you say can influence
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
people
Yeah.
in a good or bad way. And I remember things that older people had said to me all through my life, especially at work. And the older guys at work, they're your mentors, and it used to be a whole lot more than it's turned into at this point. They would sort of take a young guy, and if he was willing and wanting to, sort of take him under their wing and go with him, and show him the ropes and such. And we would sure like to see more of that.
Yeah.
Carrying what's coming on behind you.
Now, with you was talking about the more senior operators, but when I went in the Air Force, I cross-trained over from fire department to heavy equipment to pavements. I had to rely on the younger troops to teach me, and they did a superb job. They were patient with me, because I was all fire department.
Yeah.
And now I'm coming over here to building roads and sidewalks and cutting grass and building things, and I needed help. Well, the younger troops, and they know who they are, I always remember them. They were just real good to me, and they taught me how to operate and stuff like that. Gave me hints because they'd already been through the schools and all that. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I just came straight in, and they threw me to the wolves, more so to speak.
Yeah.
But they were so helpful, and I'm always thankful for them.
I love it.
Everybody needs that. We
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah,
Bad.
absolutely. Like passing it on.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
I love those thoughts of, I can think back to people that have instilled things like that in me, and you know, that mentor you, and you're
Mentor
right,
is what I
like
thought about, yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a huge influence, you know, whether you're early in a career or even mid-career or late career. It's
True.
you know, anybody who's willing to kind of come alongside and not necessarily tell you how to do something, but encourage you and show you, you know, all along the way.
Exactly.
It's just huge.
Exactly.
Huge.
And, you know, when I was first coming up, like I said, I've been a coal miner since I was my early 20s. And the way we got our training, you know, they put you on a machine and you watched the people around you, and you sort of did like they did. And it was a great experience.
Yeah.
Great
So what was it
experience.
like working in a coal mine?
I've never been underground.
Okay.
Never been underground. I've
Yeah.
always been surface mines. Different conditions. I have worked where they call them strip mines, where you mine coal. You know, you mine down to the seam and then load the coal out. And I have worked 4 underground mines, but it would be not underground, but moving the overburden that comes from the washer, as they go through the process of washing the coal, you have a lot of overburden, have a lot of trash that goes away. You have to dispose of that and make it make it right and legal.
Yeah.
For for the environment.
Right.
Yeah.
What a process.
It is a process. Everybody has their own little jobs to do,
Yeah.
and you just, of course, you learn how to do it all because you're called on to do it all, all the time, different jobs. But yeah, they're very interesting.
That is cool. And so coming back to your past career, where all in the Air Force did you get to go?
Michigan
Yeah.
was my first. Well, Matagorda Island in the Gulf of Mexico, right down by Corpus Christi, was my first base. It was a bombing range for B-52s.
Huh.
But I mean, we was up at the upper end. You know, we didn't have to dodge any bombs. But it was an isolated island, and we had to take a boat to get to it. And it was odd for my first assignment. Then I went to Michigan, and never seen so much snow in my time.
I bet.
Yeah. And they knew I was from Alabama, and when it snowed and iced up, they took me out there on the ramps and let me drive and let me spin the trucks, and they taught me how to drive in ice and snow, and I always remember that. Then I spent half my time over in Europe, over in Germany and Italy, and spent some time in Egypt, in Honduras, and I had a pretty good round tour while I was in there. And in my job now, of course, I did pavements and sidewalks and fixed all that. But my winter job was snow removal. I mean, we got to play with plows and graders, and we had to keep the runway clean.
Yeah.
Because we had 4 alert birds on there, F-15s. So it was our job to keep that clean so they could take off at any time, because this was during the Cold War.
Wow.
And so sometimes it got so frustrating. We'd go out and clean it up, everything nice and clean. We'd go back to the shop, drink some coffee, and all of a sudden here comes another snowstorm. And run back
right
out there
back.
and do it again.
Yeah.
But that was fun. That was the best part of my job then, that snow removal. But then we had our war skills.
I was hoping you'd tell about that.
And so we'd always practice. And my job was crater chief for a RRR. That was rapid runway repair. And our job was to stop an airfield from operating, bomb the runway. Nobody can take off, nobody can land. So it was my job as a crew chief to get a team out there and patch those craters so that planes could take off. And we had to do, I think, 4 craters in 2 hours.
Wow.
I think that's right. But we had a team of equipment. We had like, I don't know, 30 people with about 30 pieces of equipment. I can't remember right offhand. But we'd go out there, one equipment would clear out the crater, next one to clean up around it, another one, a saw guy would come and square it up. It was like bam, 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 and then they'd move to the next crater and doing the same thing. And everybody's working as we're coming down the runway. The craters are getting repaired, patched, and we had square concrete pads that we would throw down on there, but it had to be nice and level.
Yeah,
we had to get
yeah,
it prepped.
Yeah.
Oh, it was,
Like an assembly line, and
Yes. It
everybody
was,
knew
I
their
bet, yeah.
knew their role.
Uh-huh.
and that was so. It was involved, and then as you're out there trying to patch it, they start shooting at you, with blanks.
Yeah.
You have to take cover, and then they'll throw a bomb out there, and you have to call that in. And
Yeah.
amazing stuff, but it was always exciting.
Wow.
But we were still using equipment, and everybody had to know what they were doing, had to do it safely, because it was like you was out there orchestrating things coming, going, moving. Oh, it was
Controlled chaos.
Yeah,
controlled-
there you
Yeah.
go.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
we created, we're
But-
going to
but-
create some chaos for
That's
you.
that was
yeah.
that was an interesting job.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to miss this moment to say thank you for your service.
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
an honor. It was definitely an honor. to serve.
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
Thank
That's
you.
incredible. Well, there's a lot of life and experience that came out of that, and kind of to that point, I know, as we all kind of progress and do different things in life, sometimes you don't realize what is coming later, and so I think for you all and for myself as well, never really saw this day,
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So all of those experiences that you had in the coal mine and, in the Air Force or whatever all those experiences are, it's the coolest thing for me, and I'm sure you too, is to think about how that all of those experiences led you to now to have that ability to draw on those experiences and then pour those into, your students.
Yeah, no, it's just all through life you just been trying to make a living,
Right.
mhm.
and then it works into something where you need to sort of be a mentor, and
Yep. Pass it on.
a little advice is in the right way goes a long way, and Sherman is great at that.
I'll go on.
Well, you're wonderful. That go on means go on.
Uh-huh.
Keep it
Keep
up.
going.
Keep
That's
going.
that's
Yeah.
our little joke there.
Uh-huh.
That's funny. That's funny.
So what do you think is, what's your favorite piece of advice to give?
Be patient. Don't get excited if you make a mistake, because we can fix it while we're out there training. It's just get a feel. Just relax. Don't try to force yourself to do it. Just do it. And eventually we tell them to, you know how to operate the equipment. You know how to check it out. You know how to move the blades. You know how to do this. Now think, I need to move this pile. All right, how am I going to do that? That's what we try to instill for them.
Mhm.
Let them think it out, and then let them try it. And if they make a mistake, go back up, clean it up, try it again. And that usually works out great, because they start thinking. They know how to operate the blades, but how am I going to push that pile to where I can level it out? That's the key.
What about you? What would you say? What's your biggest piece of advice you give to folks?
I'd say maybe just if you really pay attention, and hear what your instructor says, and you don't just have to understand everything. But if you don't, just say, I don't.
Yeah.
Don't. Got you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got you. And you really don't. And it's hard. It's a lot easier to help people. And believe me, we don't know it all. But, together we can we pull on each other and we work it out. But just pay close attention. Having that attitude just means so much. Showing up, not just on time, but the poor boss, he doesn't know what he could get done that day till he knows who's there.
Right.
And we've gone through a tough time labor-wise and still going through it. And what I see coming along is really, really a real step up quality-wise and just people-wise. I think things are improving.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
We hope that, we know y'all are, we hope that what we are building and continue to build, you talked about labor and workforce and all that we're hoping that we're doing our part.
Oh, believe me.
And we're always, really trying to think about what can we put in. And so for our listeners, normally it's, 20 to 25 hours online, but then there's the hands-on piece. So we're actually having them in the course practice all these things, whether it's,
Right.
Turning or moving a blade or whatever it is. They're physically moving these things in the course before they come on site. And hopefully, as we build those things in the course, it's enhancing their ability to be competent and proficient when they come to you guys. And so that kind of leads me to my next question is, what do you see that we need to do next? Inspire us as to what do we need to do next? Not necessarily equipment-wise, maybe. Maybe it's how do we improve a course? I don't know, I'm just going to leave it kind of open-ended and say, what suggestions, what recommendations, what piece of advice would you give us as we move into maybe this next group of courses?
I think the one thing I'd like to see is if we could get some of these companies to have their foreman come out and explain to them what they expect equipment operator to do if they were to get hired. Kind of give them a heads up that I need you to be able to do this, do that. That way they can put that into effect. But I'd like to see foremen come out and kind of give us a heads up what they're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
That would help.
Mm-hmm. It really would. It really would. We've had, of course, it's advanced, but they're for the dozers especially. The GPS and the laser stuff is really big. As far as fine grading and such, I saw they're building a new Walmart. Praise the Lord, close to my house.
Good.
So, saw a dozer operated out there the other day. The guy didn't have his hands on the levers. The dozer was operating itself, and that's advanced work right there. And we don't have the time to get into that, but it's all coming. And I actually had a student call me and ask me if, because a company asked him about it.
I remember it.
Yeah, company asked him about it, if he had any training on that. I think it'd be pretty much just on the job training for that kind of thing.
We hope that we are as supportive as we possibly can be.
No doubt.
We love we always feel like we're in the service industry a lot. Like we build it and we love on that course. And gosh, we love it so much, and then it's like Christmas morning, we give it away.
Yeah,
because it's not ours. I mean, we built it for industry or for you or for the participants, and so then we kind of watch it fly. But we're always asking, like, what should we do next?
It
and
is
what
so
can we
well
do
put
better?
together.
I can't think too much.
It's
really
easy to teach the way y'all have put it together. Just falling in line, as you go through the day. Yeah. The teaching, we streamline it where we can to move on, because actually the being in the seat is the big thing on our days.
Right.
Yep.
And, the days will get away from you before you know it, because they just do.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
It does.
It does. And but we have seen a lot of changes in the way, I think, in the way we're going about trying to learn how to teach this, and it's just working out great. And this, hopefully this is great, in the technology world we live in, these podcasts are everywhere. And hopefully some might plant a little seed in some people's minds that may want to try this.
Agreed. You just never know.
I can't believe that where we first started, that we'd be where we're at.
Me
so
either.
Comfortable with teaching and stuff like that, and it was blank slate, blank canvas.
It was.
And then we just started making it up, and it worked out great.
It did. We're thankful.
I feel like some people are just innately gifted with being able to explain how to do something. So I believe if I understand right, that you two are just those two people, and part of many across the state who deliver these courses every day. But to you, I say thank you, for everything that you do. However, I'm immensely impressed by your ability to relay how to do something that's very, very complex and put it very simply. Because if you couldn't do that, you wouldn't be successful, and you wouldn't have people that, sing your praises about how good you are as instructors. And that's not easy for everybody. Everybody is not built, in my opinion, to explain how to do something.
Well, that's very kind.
Yeah,
that
very nice.
That is very kind, and we'll never forget those words.
Well,
we'll never forget.
You're gifted, and I hope that even just with my own kids, I hope I'm able to relay thoughts and steps and that kind of thing. But literally, like, y'all take massive machines on a daily basis, and you put them in the hands of people that they've moved a mouse to make these things move. And now you put them behind there,
what a saying, yeah.
And now you expect them to move it. That's a big job.
We've been doing this for 3 years, and we never had an accident.
We've been blessed.
And no one's gotten hurt. No equipment's got damaged. It's just been perfect.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yep.
We'll keep going on too.
Yes. Pray with that string carries on.
Yeah,
Amen
that's
to
a
that.
testimony to y'all. So tell me why you are known as brother.
We're both Christians.
Me too.
And we talk God all the time when we were working together, and we just have a good rapport with each other. And he started calling me brother, and I just love it. That's just a sign of good friendship and fellowship, and I just enjoy it. I get a kick out of Ken there.
It's really a habit now.
I wondered. I knew there had to be a story because
Sister
my
Brandy.
two. I will be Sister Brandy from here on out for you.
You will, yeah.
I'm serious. I absolutely will.
When I call you, you'll know. I called a guy one time, dear friend. I said, Brother James. He says, hey, Brother Ken. I said, how'd you know it was me? It was back before anybody would admit they had a caller ID, He said, because you the one called me Brother James,
Yeah.
And so,
It's a term of endearment and a term of love.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when I call you, you'll know who I am.
Okay. Perfect. That is how I will be known from here on out. That is actually, my children call each other brother and sister a lot.
Good.
They don't even say their names.
My name was brother when I was
really.
I was one of four, and I was the oldest, and mother called me brother, and that almost stuck.
Yeah.
Almost one of my best friends went by that name, brother, but mine turned loose and didn't stick.
Yeah. Well, and now you've got another brother that calls you that anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
Love it. Well, we're kind of wrapping up on the end of this podcast. And so I just kind of want to bounce it back to you guys. I first off want to say thank you for spending your morning with us and giving some wisdom to all of us, who kind of spend the day-to-day sometimes behind a desk, but you're out there, boots on the ground, literally, in dirt and with folks that are training in hopes of either improving their family or improving their own life or whatever that is. So I just want to say thank you. But I want to know not only what should we do next, but what do you want to do next? So what do you want to do next with Skills for Success or with your students? What do you see as your next step to to what's next?
Well, now that's a hot question, but I could be I know I could be. We never know where our students or our friends or our everyday people we just carry on with. We don't know what kind of situation they came from, and before they saw us that morning, and I think I need to be a whole lot more thoughtful of that. If things aren't going just exactly right, there might be a little reason sometimes for something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good.
Yeah, that's good because
Maybe a little more thoughtful.
sometimes they come in, might have a little attitude.
Yeah.
They just might have had a flat coming in or something like that,
Yeah.
and just give them time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one thing I like about operating equipment is that your house could burn down, you could have your dog could have got run over, but once you get in there and start operating, your concentration, everything goes away.
You can sort of leave it,
Yeah.
that's one thing in our talk, if we can just, everybody's got problems and everybody's got little issues they deal with at home and everything, but work can be like a release away from some of the pressure that we deal with every day.
Yeah.
Time goes by real quick.
It does. It really does.
You're concentrating, and it's just, I love it. I love it.
I know you do.
Every chance I get, if there's nobody's operating, I'll get out there and push it a little bit.
That's
just to
right.
kind of remind how to do that.
Well, your love for sure, your love for what you do and comes out. And I've just been inspired by you two this morning, and I thank you for your time. And so, Brother Sherman and Brother Ken, we are going to wrap up this podcast. So we'll tell all of our listeners to be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on all podcast platforms. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sister Brenda.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful.